Hello, my name is Dan McDonald, Life Regenerator here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Life Regenerator Show. Today what we're going to be doing is making the Master's Yogurt. Okay, so I wanted to give you the exact ingredients to make the best, smoothest, creamiest, most medicinal coconut yogurt on the island of Kauai, and now I'm bringing it home to you wherever you are. So check this out. I've got some very epic coconut meat here. Now you can get it from the Asian markets, and they're called young Thai coconuts. You learn how to crack those babies open. You get out the water, which is loaded with the living life force energy, and then you learn how to take a coconut buddy or a spoon and you scrape out the meat. Then what you do to get the perfect yogurt recipe consistency is you clean it up really, really nice. You take your ceramic knife and you clean off all the little brown pieces. I missed one. Okay, and what you have after that is a sink full of all the brown pieces. Okay, therefore, okay. Next, what I'm going to do to give you the exact ingredients, because I'm going to be working on this more often, I bought measuring cups, little measuring spoons, because I'm taking my game to the next level. Okay, now, chop the meat. Chop the meat. We're going to do 3 cups of chopped coconut meat. There's one, almost. So just bear with me here as I chop and cook. I hope that your life is divine and you're feeling loved and appreciated in your life. Hope that you're feeling a lot of creative energy. Creative energy. So there's 1 cup. This is going to be perfect. We've never done this in 5 years of making coconut yogurt, coconut almond yogurt, coconut pine nut yogurt, coconut macadamia nut yogurt, coconut pecan yogurt. TheBomb.com, coconut walnut yogurt. Epic. See all those recipes? Now me, I got coconuts. I got coconuts coming out my ears. So I'm using all this. And then when you add the probiotic to the coconut, and then you let that sit, I'll tell you about the perfect time is like a week in the fridge. And we'll go over that here as we progress in the video here to make sure that you got it all dialed in so you can make this at home yourself and get the perfect consistency. Now, the only variable is going to be in the texture of the meat. I grabbed a few different levels here of meat. This one's a little bit more wavy. This one's a little firmer. If you had nothing but a bunch of real firm meat, it would take a little bit more water, I suspect. So I've got a nice balance here of some of the thinner meat as well as some of the thicker, more mature meat. Here's another example of a little bit more thin, whereas you can see with the thicker meat here, it's not as wavy. Okay, so I'm going with cup number 2 here. Boom, try to keep it legit, Betty Crocker style. Bam. Okay, 1 more. So I'm going to try to get some of that mature meat in there. The other thing that's really good about this particular recipe video is that you're going to only want to focus on making 1 batch at a time, because sometimes in the past I've tried to make like just load the blender too much and you can overload the blender. And so you're going to need a high-speed blender for this. I cannot tell you how many ghetto blenders that I burned up over the years, like 1 or 2 times. I remember I went to the store and it was when I was just starting out, maybe 5 years ago. I was on the bike ride and I had just met Lou and I was just learning how to make the yogurts, and then I bought this little ghetto blend when I was staying at my friend Nessa's, if y'all remember that. And we got this little Breville blender, which, I thought, oh, this is going to be good, and then it was like, I think it lasted like 2 or 3 batches and it just, whoa, it just can't handle it. So if you're going to be blending nuts and seeds and stuff like that, you need a professional high-speed blender like the Vitamix or the Blendtec. I've just used the Vitamix for all these years, so that's the one I go with. I've seen the Blendtec and it works very well. I like the variable speed. I like to be able to play with it here, so check into the Vitamix. There's 3 cups of the coconut meat. So I'll make a couple more batches once I'm done with this video. So we'll set that aside for now. The next is to take I've got a measuring cup here. That's what that is, 1 cup. So I'm going to double filter this. I take my, I go outside, I finally see I'm making a lot more yogurt. I have about 8 jars in there now because I have a coconut processing station system. Finally, after moving here and moving there and just not being able to get it, throwing away a lot of coconut meat. Just because it would just sit around and I couldn't get around to making the yogurt and I didn't have a place to store it. So anyways, I put this here and I got this pitcher at the kitchen supply store. I'm stoked out of my mind. It's amazing because some of those other pitchers, when you go to pour them, it goes all over the place. This is actually like designed for a restaurant so that when you pour it, it doesn't make a mess. So it's like amazing. I don't think I've spilled ever since I've owned this thing. It's 4 quarts. And that's about how much juice I like to make when I get the Green Star out and get stoked on green juice power, which is pure life force energy. So these living foods give you a lot of energy, a lot of life. They keep you slim, trim, radiant, and feeling alive. Okay. Give it a thumbs up. You know you like that last one. So here's some more coconut water. Woo! I'm going to do, so this is what's cool. This is 1.5. Oh, the ladies are here. I better hurry this up. Okay, I got 1.5 cups to 3 cups of meat. Now, I'm going to blend it first before I put in the Life Biotic from PURADYME. Microphone right by the Vitamix. Is your brain still in your head? Sorry about that. Oh, that is going to be smooth and that is going to be creamy. So I'm going to let that air bubble pop. I'm going to turn it all the way down and start it low again, and then I'm going to finesse this thing. Now this is a nice, smooth, creamy, thicker yogurt. If you want to go a little thinner, then you would use a little bit more water. I'm going to let that bubble pop again and just hit it one more time. Okay, now that is nice and smooth and creamy. Thank you for your patience there. I'm going to add some Life Biotic from PURADYME. You know, probiotics ends up the fastest growing segment of the supplement industry, and there's a good reason why. People are not digesting their food. I recommend a live foods diet. I recommend simplicity. You know what I'm saying? To help yourself digest. When you see the trend going up to the multi-billion-dollar consumption of enzymes and probiotics, you know one thing, people are having a hard time digesting their foods and their stomach isn't right. I'll just be one more second, okay? Let me wrap this thing up real quick. Okay, focus. Yeah, this, PURADYME. So I'm going to just put a little bit, maybe like 1 teaspoon, and then I'll hit it one more time to get that down in there. Should start out on slow. Now I got to shake it because it's got thicker, right? So I shake it and then pop, the air bubble comes up. Next. There it is. So that's pretty much the perfect. Now, here's the final phase in the game here, folks. You take your jar, 32-ounce jar. I've even upped my game. I got a spatula. Someone said, DTM, you need a spatula. I was like, all right, you know it. So I'm going to fill this jar full of the most epic deliciousness. I like to take this, set it up here, well maybe even on this thing here, so that it will, so it like drains down, but then I'm gonna grab my spatula and finish the job before I say goodbye to y'all out in the YouTube village. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go around the edge now, make a little mess there. Okay, and then just scrape it all out of there with your spatula. And then what you can do, what I did for a while there, I mean, it hardly ever lasts around here long enough, but you can put the date on it if you want to, so you don't get, most people are probably not going to make as much yogurt as I do, so you're going to have 1 or 2 jars at a time, but you know, I'll have like 6, 8, 10 jars of yogurt in the fridge, and it goes great with like all these bananas. Look at this, like I said, I got bananas coming out my ears, you know, like boom. I got a whole rack in the garage. I got 100 racks out here on the trees. I got these avocados just falling off the trees. The avocados, you can mix the coconut yogurt with avocado, garlic, dill, sea salt, and lemon and make a ranch dressing that is better, 100 times better than in the store, and there's no addictive chemicals. So it's pretty amazing stuff. What did I do? I got sidetracked. I got distracted. This is the Life Regenerator Show, and you're not surprised by that. It happens, baby, it happens. I'll just edit that part out. So there we go, folks. Epic Days, coconut yogurt. It's medicine for your gut, because these probiotics that go in, they inoculate from your mouth, so they bring healthy bacteria to your mouth. They bring healthy bacteria to your stomach. They bring healthy microorganisms to your small intestine, and they inoculate your large intestine. They are a transient microorganisms. So you take these, so they're not colonizing, but they will mitigate all of the pathogenic type, because human beings, this is what's crazy, human beings eat cooked food. That cooked food is already partly decomposed. And so there's microorganisms which deal with decomposing foods as opposed to the live foods. When you eat a banana that's fresh and alive, a different type of microorganism comes out of the woodwork and becomes a part of your daily system. Then tomorrow that microorganism says, hey, I want some more of those bananas. But if you stay on the cooked food, then the microorganisms that are the decomposers, and there's all kinds of different decomposers of the dead flesh, of the dead carbohydrates, of the dead starches, which have the phytates, which rob your body of calcium. So what you really want to do is have a high mineral, high water, fresh, alive, locally grown as possible, whole foods, simple diet. It's like humility is what it is. Let me put a lid on this thing and I'll finalize this thing. But I'm telling you, there's a good way to live, and it's the Living Foods way. So I've got a little bit around the edge. I'm going to rinse that off. I'm just going to put the lid on. And I will tell you that anywhere between 3 days and 1 week, depending on how much probiotic you use, if you want to accelerate the process of the true cultured yogurt, you can put about 2 or 3 teaspoons. It's going to cost you a little bit more money, but it'll accelerate the process. So the more probiotics you put in it, the faster you get that creamy, tangy, true yogurt. Now right now this is coconut cream with a little bit of probiotics. But right now they're already starting to come alive. They're starting to break down the fats into fatty acids. They're starting to break down the carbohydrates in the coconut meat into glucose. Okay, then there's also a little bit of protein. So they're breaking the protein down into amino acids too. So it's a pre-digested yogurt. That's what the beauty of, and then you can take that and do that with pine nuts. And you can make a pine nut, a cultured pine nut sour cream. Next level for like your raw tacos. DTM world famous raw tacos If you want to know what that is, all you got to do is go to my website and get the Living Foods recipe book so you can get the DTM world famous raw tacos and 259 other recipes. 100 of them are juices. That is regenerateyourlife.org. But if you take the macadamia nuts, if you take coconut and macadamia nut, that is the bomb. That is so epic. But when you take the macadamia nuts, the walnuts, the pecans, the almonds, any of that, you can even make sunflower seed cheeses. Let me know if you want to know all about these cheeses. But the macadamia nuts, you put them in the blender. You can do it with just plain water, and you make macadamia nut yogurt with the probiotics, which will break those down, because everyone knows when you eat a bunch of macadamia nuts, it's kind of heavy. And all the different nuts, that when they're taken and they are blended into these yogurts, they are about 5 times as digestible. They have a lot of really beneficial properties in those nuts and seeds, different fats and oils. So make sure they're fresh from a reputable source. Hand cracking them is great, but you know, if you ever had to hand crack this many macadamia nuts, you'd know what that's like. But this is a great company and they're very fresh. So get your fresh nuts and seeds and then turn them into these yogurts, and you'll see the lightness of it, because people are like, I can't eat nuts. And that's because they don't really take the time. A lot of times the indigenous cultures would, you know, they would crush the nuts and they would ferment them and they would use them in recipes and stuff like that. They wouldn't just sit there and watch while they're watching their favorite YouTube video and eat a bag of cashews. It didn't work like that. You can make some dang good cashew yogurt as well, and that helps to digest the cashews as well, which is another nut that has some challenges with people's digestion. Interestingly enough, that's what they use in all the raw food restaurants. If they took the cashews and cultured them and then made the cream cheese pie, it would be a heck of a lot more digestible. I hope you got the download today. This is the perfect, didn't we do it? This is all the way down. DTM, dialing it in with the measuring cups and the apron, of course. Aren't I professional now? Now you like me. Ha ha. But I don't have a shirt on underneath, but I am wearing pants. Okay, so check it out. The stash. Boom, boom. Look at that. I want to just show you how real it is. A little bit of leftover. And I'm going to show you a real close-up here, because I'm just having a hoot. A hoot. I got the best fridge in the world. Water, vegetables, fruit, and coconut yogurt. Let me see. None of these are really... This one here has got a little bit more life to it. Let me see what I can do here. 17 minutes. I was going to be quick. I don't know if you can see it or not. You really can't from where you are, but you start to see little bubbles. You start to see it. It's just not going to come through on the camera. But there's little pockets in there, and that's how you know that your yogurt is done. Another batch of coconut almond yogurt. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of the Life Regenerator Show. You know I love it when you give it a thumbs up. That inspires me to keep going. Love is the fuel of the fire, baby. And you know that if you have not subscribed yet, that I really appreciate that. So I show up in your feed and you can get more juice recipes, more living food recipes. Leave a comment down below and let me know how you do. Peace be with you. Aloha.